those of you who may not necessarily know this, what really kind of took Amazon and catapulted it to, the top of the world as we know it today was really when Prime came around, which was maybe 12, 13 years ago-ish at this point. Once Amazon Prime came around, that kind of changed its trajectory permanently, and there's a really interesting marketing lesson and business lesson here. So I wanted to do a video on how Amazon Prime works. Granted, this is a more simplified explanation, but it should still help you with how it works from a company standpoint. So the way I like to help describe Amazon Prime is, if you look at the all-you-can-eat buffet, which has been a restaurant model that's been around, I don't know, at least 40 years, could be even more, I'm not sure, it doesn't matter. But most people, everyone sort of kind of knows how the all-you-can-eat buffet works. By the way, I'm going to talk about the strategy stuff, okay? So, and for those of you who know me, I'm always strategic. So I'm not going to focus on tactical issues. Some people say, oh, the all-you-can-eat buffet, it's really cheap food, meaning low quality, and they want you to fill up on bread. The bread is, kind of placed in certain areas on purpose. By the way, that might be the case. I don't even know. It doesn't really, matter, but I'm not really focused on those tactical aspects of it. So this is really about the strategy. So as you know, with the all-you-can-eat buffet, whether it's lunch or dinner, right? So dinner costs a little bit more. You basically pay a flat price per person, and as you guessed, it's all you can eat.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but everything on the menu has fish in it.
What about the bread? Does that have much fish in it?
Yes.
Well, I have some Tic Tacs in my purse.
Excellent choice. And for the gentleman?
All you can eat! All you can eat!
All right, when you're ready, take this plate over.
Please, don't take the steam tray.
The idea behind an all-you-can-eat restaurant is some people in your party may eat more, but some people are going to eat less than the, quote, allotment. I don't know the margins in the all-you-can-eat buffet industry, so whatever the margins might be, they come up with an average cost. They basically think about their margin requirements, and then they, round up to a price. So whatever that, quote, threshold may be, some people are going to go over, some people are going to stay under, some people are going to be just about where they're sort of expected, quote, to be. And so what are you doing? What is each family doing when they go to an all-you-can-eat buffet? They're subsidizing one another. And so to help demonstrate this, I want to use one of my favorite families. Hopefully it's one of your favorite families as well, The Simpsons. So let's say The Simpsons go out for, a dinner. What'll most likely happen, and I just, made this up, and this doesn't equal out exactly either, and doesn't have to. So what will most likely happen, that Homer is going to eat maybe, let's say, 3 times his allotment, or maybe more. Marge is going to eat approximately her allotment. Bart is a growing boy. He might eat a little bit more than his allotment. Lisa might eat a little bit less than her allotment. And, well, cute little Maggie, she eats for free because she's just a baby. Now what happens, of course, is that, yes, Homer is eating a lot more than his allotment, but, some people are eating less, etc. Now in this case, like I said, it doesn't have to be equal. It just sort of has to make sense at the end of the day, so to speak. So you have families that may go in a table of 4 and maybe all of them will eat a little bit under, etc. You might be thinking, well, what happens if you are not in a family but you just go by yourself? Well, the concept still remains exactly the same. If you have a single diner and they're basically eating over their allotment, and then you have another single diner and they're eating under their allotment, well then those two people, strangers, and kind of keep that in mind because that's where I'm going with this, strangers are going to sort of equal themselves out. Well, what happens when a whole table of football players goes into the all-you-can-eat buffet? So aren't they going to completely skew all the numbers? Yeah, absolutely. They're going to totally skew the numbers, and a group of 4 football players is not good news for an all-you-can-eat buffet. However, even this doesn't really matter all that much, because even though each of these football players may eat 5 times their allotment, So throughout the rest of the day, throughout the week, or maybe even before they got there, let's say if these football players are going at the end of the day, maybe during the day there were enough people who were still sort of eating under their allotment, and this ultimately just balances itself out. Now you might be thinking, well, what happens if, an all-you-can-eat buffet just, serves football players all the time? Well, if that were to happen, truly, well, then that all-you-can-eat buffet would go out of business. It's not sustainable under that model, but it's really unlikely that that would ever even happen in the first place. The group of 4 football players, even if they come in once a week or something, it will still balance itself out. As long as it balances itself out in some way, shape, or form, whether you're using a daily metric, a weekly metric, a monthly metric, an annual metric, it sort of depends on the situation. Now let's get into Amazon Prime. So Amazon Prime really works in a very similar way. So let's say that you and all your neighbors, right? So it doesn't matter whether you know some of them or not. Let's just say for all intents and purposes they're strangers, because they are strangers. So everyone is paying a certain fee. So everyone is paying a certain price. And what happens is that some of us overuse our Amazon Prime membership, meaning we get a lot of things shipped to us, and some of us are underutilizing our Amazon Prime membership. Maybe we use it once in a while and it still makes sense for us to have an Amazon Prime membership, but we're not really using it all that much. Maybe your neighbor is getting stuff delivered every day and you're getting stuff delivered maybe once a week or maybe once every other week. I know there's further details that get into this, and Amazon has spent a lot of time figuring this out. So I understand that, but at the same time, this is really how it works. It's a subsidized model. This is what is brilliant about Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime relies on this assumption. If this delicate assumption were to all of a sudden go away, the whole thing would possibly collapse. Because if everyone was overutilizing, quote, their Amazon Prime memberships, then 2 things would possibly happen. One, like I just said, the thing may just have to go away because it wouldn't be able to sustain itself, just like if there were just, football players going into the all-you-can-eat buffet all the time. The other thing that would happen is that your Amazon Prime membership would continue to rise, the price that you pay. By the way, I'm also very cognizant of the fact that we do get price increases every few years. I also have Amazon Prime. But don't make the mistake of confusing that with this. The price increases have to do, to a large extent, with shipping costs, as well as a couple of other things here and there. But, again, focusing on the strategy piece of it, what I'm saying is the only other option that Amazon would have if we were overutilizing our Prime memberships would be to really drastically increase the price to continue to keep up with it. And then at that point, what would happen is you would probably drop your Amazon Prime membership once you get to a point where you say, you know what, Amazon Prime in terms of a annual price was attractive, and now it's no longer attractive because it's too expensive. And yeah, fine, you get the Prime movies and music and whatever it is we get, but still, there comes a point where there's a ceiling. One more thing that I want to say, for those of you who remember MoviePass. So I never had MoviePass, but I was following it for a while. So the problem with MoviePass was that the deal was actually too good, so to speak. It was too attractive. MoviePass, borrowed a page from Amazon Prime and said, okay, so you get, X amount of movies for such and such fee every month. They didn't get any cost discounts, in terms of their costs from the movie theater chains themselves. So people found this to be very attractive. And what happened? MoviePass had to increase its rates often by a couple of dollars, and it just kept on going up and up. And then it got to a point where they had to reduce some of the services, meaning whatever the number was. I don't remember anymore, so that part doesn't matter. Whether it was, you could see 5 movies a month, then it got reduced to 4 movies or 3 movies. And then, really kind of the nail in the coffin, so to speak, was when they had to increase the price and still continue to lower the services. And at that point, the whole thing kind of just, imploded. The reason why Amazon Prime, and again, it rides on a somewhat delicate assumption, the reason why Amazon Prime, doesn't implode and continues, at least for now, to sustain itself is there's this natural stopgap. We actually still have to purchase we actually still have to pay and buy the items themselves. So even though we're getting, free 2-day shipping, and by the way, it's free 2-day shipping, not delivery. Technically, it's shipping, but that's why now and again, it'll take a third day for your Prime site. A lot of it comes on time or even early, but technically, that's how they get around that with that loophole. So it's 2-day shipping. You still have to pay for the items. So, it's based on how much you can afford. So that's a natural stopgap. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this increased your knowledge about Amazon Prime. And hopefully now you have a little bit of a better understanding of how it works. So send me your comments and questions, and each week you'll get a chance to win a copy of one of my books. Your choice, either my book on presentation skills or business writing skills.